Yo, what's up, guys? It's MMA Analyst with my predictions for UFC 145. Jones versus Evans, the fight that we thought would never happen. Definitely the thought that Rashad Evans thought would never happen. The fight that John Jones seems to be ready for a while. Let's get right down to it, folks. All right, look, I really want Rashad Evans to win this fight. I really want him to win this fight. He says he knows how John Jones fights. Of course, right? They train together, but it's been a while since they trained together. Has John Jones fixed his game up? Yeah, I mean, he's improved vastly. His stand-up is going to be much better than Rashad Evans. He's going to have many more options. He's going to have just a wide variety of attacks. And, yeah, man, he's going to have the reach advantage. He's been killing people, so I'm sure he feels really confident. We all know what John Jones has been doing to people, man. He's been just destroying people. Who are these people? Obviously, we know Lyoto Machida choked him and dropped him. Rampage Jackson submitted him. Shogun Hua decimated him. And then, Ryan Bader, whatever. I mean, like, he was never all that great. And he still isn't. Anyways, but it doesn't matter. He whooped Ryan Bader as everybody thought he would, or at least people who knew what was going on. Vladimir Matyshenko, I mean, he killed everybody. Matt Hamill, he even destroyed him. And I say even because he says he lost, but we all know that he didn't lose that fight. He's killing everybody. The last time he had a fight that wasn't easy was maybe against Stephan Bonner, where it went all 3 rounds, and even still, he ragdolled him all over the place, and that was when he had only been even training for maybe a year or so or something like that. Anyways, he's just a beast, right? We all know that, right? Fighting wise, he's out of control. I mean, y'all like why can't I? Why don't I like Rashad Evans? John Jones. I mean, forget about the fact that he stabbed partners in the back and that he's like seems to be really arrogant and cocky, and not arrogant cocky like I'm good, like my skills are good. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You can even say I'm the best in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you just like praise yourself in this way, like he said the other day, I hope if I don't become greater, like bigger, than Muhammad Ali, then it's my fault. John, what do you, come on, man, like you make it really difficult for me to not be able to just do a prediction video. Why I have to talk about this garbage? Because you say stupid stuff like that. You will never, ever in a zillion years be anywhere close to Muhammad Ali. Why? Because the sport of boxing and what was happening in that time, it had nothing to do with just Ali being a good fighter. Ali was not just a good fighter. Ali was like everything at that time. Like the Rumble in the Jungle and all this crazy stuff. That's this history, this sports history. John Jones, you can be the champion until you die. You will never make sports history. That will go down. What Ali was doing at the time that Ali was doing it will go down in history like Jimi Hendrix on the guitar. It'll go down in history like Vietnam went down in history. It'll go down in history like sport things normally don't go down in history. You could be the best football player in the world. You're not going to go down in history the way Muhammad Ali did because of what he did, what he was saying, how he was saying it, the time. It was like the 60s and the 70s, and when there's all the tension between the race, with black and white in America, and rights, and the war, and all that stuff. This guy was going crazy. This is a rant, obviously. He was there. That was him. And Ali was right in the middle of it. And not only was he right in the middle of it, but people were backing him. The black dude who all of a sudden is Muslim, who dodged the draft, but people were all for it. And then it ended up being Vietnam, wasn't a good idea. So he was right at the end of the day. And then not only that, but he was knocking people out. He had a historic comeback. I mean, Ali is Ali. He's going to go down as one of the best top 5 sportsmen of all time, no matter what happens next. And you say, if I can't be bigger than Ali, it's my fault. There's nothing in all of mixed martial arts that will ever be as big as Ali. Ali, well, this is me. I love mixed martial arts. That's, you know what I mean? I almost named my daughter MMA. Emma May. Come on, that's crazy, right? That's only a lunatic would do that, right? But I tell you right now that mixed martial arts, the entire sport will never be as big as Muhammad Ali and what he did during that time. Anyways, Rashad Evans, you better go out there and do something. And what you need to do is you need to get on the inside. If Rashad Evans tries doing all this outside, like what he can do when you're faster than somebody, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get caught before he even comes in. And he's not going to get one punch flatline. He's going to get like he did with Machida. He's going to get tagged up, and then he's going to get tagged about 8 more times, and then he's going to do the stanky leg. He needs to get inside. He needs to close the distance. He needs to initiate. He needs to tighten it up. He needs to clinch it up, and he needs to tire out John Jones. Now, what's the problem with that? Is John, he had his last fight January 28th, which was a solid fight against Phil Davis, 5 rounds, but Phil Davis is not John Jones. His previous fight to that was Tito Ortiz, August 6, 2011. Tito Ortiz is not John Jones. And then before that, his last fight before that was May 29th, 2010. He had one fight in 2011, and he had a fight against a severely outmatched Phil Davis. So I don't know what he's doing with his training, but his training is going to be what needs to, because just going from fight to fight is not going to be enough. John Jones has been training for the best guys in the world and whooping their asses. So, who he's previously been fighting is not going to be enough. So his training camp is going to have to be amazing, because he's going to have to come out there, close the distance, get him down. I don't care if you lay on him, pause, for 25 minutes. I don't care. I don't care if they don't even pick you up between rounds. They just ding, 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 round's over. Stay there. Second round, go. Just keep. I don't care how you beat him, but you're going to have to lay on him, because I don't think you're going to tire him. I don't think you're going to pound him out. Again, pause. I don't think you're going to be able to knock him out on the feet. You can. You have that knockout power, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it. You're going to have to tire him out. Get on top, drag him through into that 4th and 5th round. And the other thing is, you're going to have to be very convincing with your rounds, because in John Jones' last fight, they said he won that first round against Machida. And that's no way he did. There's no way he won the first round. So just the fact that they say he won that first round means, you're not going to be able to get close rounds against John Jones, because the judges just see. They just see, John Jones is just like, whatever he does works. It's kind of like when Jordan used to miss a shot. If somebody was near him, they'd be like, that must have been a foul, because Jordan doesn't miss shots. He go to the foul line so many times, because, he just doesn't miss shots. Same thing with Machida. That's how Machida beat Shogun the first time, because the aura of Machida was everything he does works. You can't hit him. Everything he does hits you. Therefore, he wins every round like that. So, anyways, you're going to have to be really, 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 really blatant with, you're going to have to be obvious. You're not going to make, no close rounds will go to Rashad Evans. With all that said, I can't pick against John Jones at this point. He's shown who he is and what he can do. Evans has shown who he is and what he can do. And unless it's just a style make fights, unless it's just that, unless it comes down to John Jones, Rashad Evans has John Jones's number, unless that's the case, which I can't predict, then I got to go with John Jones to win this fight, and probably second round TKO. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm really, really wrong. Next fight, Rory McDonald versus Che Mills. This is a setup from Rory McDonald to absolutely whoop somebody's ass. Che Mills, he looked good in his last couple fights. Chris Cope, he looked good in that fight. Fight over an M1 back in 2010. Solid fight. He's on a 4 or 5 fight winning streak right now. But yeah, he's not going to be able to do anything to Rory McDonald. Rory McDonald went out there, did his thing with Mike Pyle, ragdolled Nate Diaz, took Carlos Condit almost to the decision, kind of got gassed. Carlos Condit turned it up in the third round and pulled off the win with about 7 seconds left of the fight. Rory McDonald's winning this fight. I mean, if he doesn't win this fight, that's a massive upset. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing. Is just there's nobody for Rory McDonald to fight right now. I mean, he's welterweight. He's not near a title shot right now. Maybe they want to just give him more practice, more time in the cage before, maybe throwing him to the proverbial wolves. He's only 22. I wish that in MMA there was just more talent so that guys like Rory McDonald could fight, more times. Like more, I would like to see Rory McDonald win 5 more times before getting a title shot. Not because he doesn't legitimately maybe deserve one after those 5 fights, but I want to see him be able to just get better as a fighter before they start, throwing him into the ring with top 5s, into the cage with top 5s. Because then Rory McDonald is maybe over his head. And then the things that he's learning, he can learn, but he'll lose. And then, who knows? Well, I want to see him get as many fights as he can before he gets that title shot. Or before he even gets put in the cage with a title contender. So Rory McDonald's going to win this fight. I see him just winning it wherever he wants. Brendan Schaub versus Ben Rothwell. This is tough. They both got knockout power. Ben Rothwell's got a lot of fights, a lot of experience. He lost 8 times. He's only been knocked out 3 times out of his 8 losses. He has 18 knockouts out of his 31 wins. So he's not out here to try and lay on people. He's out here to knock somebody out. Brendan Schaub has been knocked out 2 times. One time by Nogueira, Big Nog, and also by Roy Nelson. Ben Rothwell's bigger than both of those guys, more knockouts than both of those guys. And Brendan Schaub, I don't know how he feels right now. Is he going to be able to come back and fight with a clear head at this point, or is he worried about getting knocked out? He's going to have height disadvantage, the reach disadvantage, the experience disadvantage. At the end of the day, he's only had 10 fights. He's won 8 of them. And out of those 10 fights, I would say a good, like Terscherer, Gormley, old version of Mirko Krokop. Like those guys aren't, for him, it's perfect because he needs to get that testing. But when it comes down to, in his 5th fight, he had to fight Roy Nelson. He wasn't ready for that. It was obvious. And even in his 10th fight, when he fought Nogueira, who a lot of people thought it was, old, beat up, can barely see Nogueira caught him and knocked him out. So it's a tough one to pick. I'm going to go with Brendan Schaub because of Ben Rothwell's issue with gas tank. I don't think Brendan Schaub is going to gas. If Brendan Schaub can make this a fight and not a brawl, then I think he can tire out Ben Rothwell and finish him later in the fight, or at least win 2 out of 3 rounds. The problem is, though, both these guys hit hard. If anybody hits anybody early, the fight's over. But I'm going to go with Brendan Schaub not getting knocked out and getting Ben Rothwell to, have to dip into that gas tank. And I think he's going to fall flat there. Next fight, Miguel Torres versus Michael McDonald. Tough one. When I first looked at this and I was looking at the betting odds, I was like, man, it looks like Miguel Torres, his stock has dropped a great amount. But I'm like, I think he can pull off this win pretty easily against Michael McDonald. But the problem is, even in Miguel Torres' last fight against Nick Pace, somebody that he should have really just been able to, in my opinion, he should have just been able to go out there and just tool Nick Pace. But it wasn't the case from what I remember. Nick Pace, it was much more of a fight than it needed to be. Maybe not a brawl or even a scrap, but it wasn't like Nick Pace was being owned by Miguel Torres. And Miguel Torres has lost a lot of his aggression. It's probably almost all gone at this point. And Michael McDonald is going to be pretty aggressive, and he's got some pretty solid striking. I think Miguel Torres' striking is better, but I think Michael McDonald will have that aggression. If Michael McDonald comes out there aggressive with the strikes and Miguel Torres is on his heels, backing up, trying to counter with them long straights and crosses, Michael McDonald can very well win this fight by decision. I think Miguel Torres needs to get back on that, not going out there and swinging like a madman, because that's what he used to do. He used to go out there and just do a little too much too fast. and then he kind of got in trouble against Brian Bowles and Joseph Benavidez. But at this point, working your way back up the division, trying to do what you got to do, it's time to turn it up. You're a well-rounded fighter. You've got the reach advantage on pretty much everybody in your division. Go out there, be aggressive, use your striking. If you need to, take it to the ground. You'll have an advantage over Michael McDonald. And I think that's what he needs to do, and I think that's what he will do. I'll be very surprised if he comes out. I mean, if Miguel Torres comes out and basically does what he's been doing in his last few fights, then he's pretty much dead. His career as any kind of contender is over because he just doesn't have it like in his head. It's gone. So there you go. Mark Hominick versus Eddie Yagan. Pretty simple here. Mark Hominick is being given an opponent that will allow him to break the streak, the losing streak. Jose Aldo, amazing fight there. Chang Sung-jung came out really cocky and thought that he was just going to destroy Chang Sung-jung, like most people did. And he got caught 7 seconds into the fight. 2 fights in a row, they're like, all right, we got Mark Hominick. We can't damage his stock anymore. We can't allow it to happen. So let's put Eddie Yagan in there with him and let's have Eddie Yagan get beat up by Mark Hominick. And I think that's what's going to happen. If Mark Hominick does lose to Eddie Yagan, he will not get cut. But it will be 3 losses in a row. And that's something that just doesn't need to happen. I think he's better than Eddie Yagan in everywhere, and I think he's going to get that win. I still think he's probably not going to knock him out. Maybe the very, very clear 30-27 decision. Mark Bocek, John Alessio. This is a fight that I think, it's like, yeah, we got 2 Canadians against each other. But Mark Bocek is the one here that's on display. John Alessio stepping in, late replacement. Actually, yeah, he had a April Fool's joke where he was like, I'm quitting MMA. And then the next day he's like, all right, I was just joking. I'm not quitting MMA. And then the next day it was like, I'm back in the UFC or I'm in the UFC. And because homeboy got injured. Who was it? Matt Wiman got injured. So yeah, he will be making his return to the UFC for the first time since is it maybe 2006? It's been a while since 2006. Yeah. So Mark Bocek's gonna get the fight to the ground. He's gonna run through him. I think he's gonna probably submit him in the first round. Better grappling all around. Get the fight to the ground. Top control. Throw some punches. Alessio turns his back, and rear naked choke win for Mark Bocek. If anything else happens, I'll be very surprised. All right, on the undercard, man, actually some tough fights. I'm gonna go with Travis Brown over Chad Griggs. Matt Brown, man, how is he still in the UFC? 13 wins, 11 losses. And I'm not even one to say, like, kick people out because of the record. I'm just saying, man, like, his only wins since 2009 have been over John Howard and Chris Cope. Cope. And it's not like he was getting beat by the greatest of all time. Ricardo Almeida, Chris Lytle, Brian Foster, Seth Brzezinski. Like, he's 2 wins and 4 since 2009. Anyways, he'll be fighting somebody who I'm going to be really rooting for, Stephen Thompson. Looks like a well-rounded, all-around fighter. Only his 7th fight. I'm going to pick Stephen Thompson. John McDessie versus Anthony Njokuani. Damn. This could be man, there's a lot of fights that could be fight of the night, but this one definitely could be. 2 solid strikers, man. If it's a close fight, it's going to go to McDessie. I think Njokuani is the better striker. Man. I'm going to go with Anthony Njokuani. Tough one, I think. Mac Danzig, another one of these, just keeps losing, and he's still in the UFC. This might be the ultimate fighter loser thing here. Mac Danzig, he won one of the seasons. Efrain Escudero won one of the seasons. Both these guys should not be in the UFC. Mac Danzig got 2 wins and 5 losses since April 2008. Just losing all over the damn place. Anyways, 20 wins, 9 losses. His time in the UFC as a whole, since coming into the UFC, or if you want to include his Pride fight, 6 losses and 4 wins since 2007. only wins being over Justin Buchholz and Joe Stevenson, both not in the UFC. He did beat Mark Bocek back in before things turned south. And they'll be fighting Efrain Escudero, who also shouldn't be in the UFC anymore. He actually was kicked out after his loss to Charles Oliveira, went out, came back, and lost to Jacob Volkman, and he's coming back again. And he has not won in the UFC since May 2010. And yeah, it's crazy. Who am I going to go with? Mac Danzig or Efrain Escudero? Wow. Again, very inconsistent fighters, or at least they consistently lose. I really don't even know. I'm gonna go. Mac Danzig is able to control Efrain Escudero and lay on him long enough to send him out of the UFC again. So I'm gonna go with Mac Danzig. And then on the undercard or the preliminary Facebook cards, I got Maximo Blanco knocking out Marcus Brimage before Brimage can try and Pat Healy Maximo Blanco. So there you go. MMA, it's important. Peace.